Yes, we're giving you some information about Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang, and we're told that she cast her ballot around 8 a.m. today at the Commander Naana Opoku-Agyemang constituency in the central region, and that is her home constituency. And well, something came up. So at the polling center, she was asked to use any of her fingers on the verification machine, and she was not too happy about that because the law permits only the use of the thumb. And so she addressed the media after casting her votes. And so that is the vice presidential candidate of the NDC. That's her earlier walking towards the polling station. And well, she voted at the Commander MA polling center in the Commander Naana Opoku-Agyemang constituency around 8 a.m. And well, she wasn't too happy that she was asked to use any of her fingers on the verification machine, even though the law permits only the thumb. She was, however, optimistic of a peaceful voting process across the constituency and across the country, and she urged the electorates to place premium on the peace of the country than their personal interest. Now, the vice presidential candidate was addressing the media after successfully casting her ballot at Commander MA polling center at Commander in the Commander Naana Opoku-Agyemang constituency. I mentioned earlier that she was there as early as 8 a.m. to cast her ballot, and that's her on your screens at the moment. And if she should, if the NDC should win, this would be the first time in the history of the nation that we would have a female vice presidential candidate. And already she made history when she was announced as the running mate to the flag bearer of the NDC, former President John Dramani Mahama, as the first female VP candidate for one of the two main political parties in the country. And so that generated a lot of talk. A lot of people have expressed some optimism about the fact that we could possibly have our first female vice presidential candidate. But it also, well, vice presidents, that's if the NDC wins, and it all depends on the votes. The MPP is very sure, very optimistic that they are retaining, you know, the presidency. And so let's see what happens later after all votes have been cast and it's been closed, because that is when we'll start counting. And so that's her going through the verification process. And like I mentioned earlier, she wasn't too happy because she says that the polling station agents had asked her to use any of her fingers, when in actual fact, the law says you should use your thumb. And so all these details, you can only find them here on your election command center. We're updating you all through till the announcement of the results by the EC. And so that's why we ask that you stay with us so you can get up to speed information. So that's her going through the process, like I mentioned earlier. Professor Naana Opoku-Agyemang, the vice presidential candidate for the NDC. Very interesting, I must say.